Welcome to another Tech Help Quick Queries video. This is number 44 for Quick Queries Friday. Brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. For those of you who don't know, Quick Queries is where I take all the little questions throughout the week that people send me that don't need a whole video in and of themselves, and I put them together here. And in fact, the first one today, I actually have a video coming out on this, but probably not for another week or two. But I figured I'd address it quickly today for those who want to know. Let's get to it. I get this question every now and then, which again is why I've got it on my slate to make a full video on it, but I'll just go over the basics today. Anthony says, I'm trying to add records, but Access gives me database has reached maximum size, error 3036. What does that mean and how do I fix it? Well, basically, Anthony, the maximum size of a Microsoft Access database file, whether it's an ACCDB or a DE or whatever, can only be 2 gigabytes. And that's not really a lot of space. But there are a bunch of things you can do and check to make sure that you fit within that 2 gigabyte file limit. And here's my list of stuff to check. I've got videos that talk about all of these things in more detail. Now, the first thing is obviously run a compact and repair. That will get rid of any empty space in your database, because when you delete records, that space is still there until you compact it. Then it gets rid of all of that extra space. It's kind of like pushing your foot down on the garbage can, right? To get all the, compress all the air out of it. I have an event that runs weekly that compacts and repairs my database, and it usually saves about 5 to 10%. So that will add up over time. If you've never compacted before, do it. You'll be surprised. Now, the next thing when people tell me that they're running out of space in their database, they're doing one of the two following things. They're either using attachments or they're storing images in their database file. And both of those are no-nos. I do not like attachments, right? Storing Word documents or PDFs or whatever in your database. Same thing with images. Don't be storing big images in your database. It's not optimized for that. You're going to store them externally, right? In a folder on your file server or even on your website, whatever, and then just store a link to those in your database. So it's only text. Both of those videos will explain what to do in that case in more detail. Next, obviously, is split your database. Now, splitting your database involves separating into a front-end and back-end file, and the video here that I have on this page explains it in detail. The front end has all of your forms and reports and the user interface stuff. The back end has the tables. And each of those files can be 2 gigabytes, because that limit is for the file, the ACCDB file, right? Now, what a lot of people don't realize is you can also split up your backend into multiple backend files and link all of those into the front end. So you could have, for example, your customer table in a customer.accdb file. Your order table can be in an order.accdb, and those can all be linked into the front end. And so each one of those files can be 2 gigabytes in size. So right there, that'll make your database much, much larger. In my database, for example, I've got probably 10 or 15 different backend files in addition to SQL Server, but I still store a lot of the stuff that I don't use as often in Access database, especially my older stuff. And I've got it split into different groups of tables in different backend files, so you can split them all up that way. All right, next step is you can archive old records. I have a video that covers that in detail, like old customers, someone who hasn't placed an order in 10 years. You don't want to lose them completely, but you don't need them in your active customer file. So you just archive them to another, a backup table that's stored in a different database file. And if you want to see them all together or search in that, you just union it in with your main table. And that's what the union query thing is there for. Then I have another trick that I do called extended info tables. And I don't have a tech help video that shows this, but I do cover it in Access Expert Level 4. And that's basically saying that you might have some information for all of your customers. First name, last name, address, phone, that kind of stuff. But you might have a bunch of additional information that you don't have for everybody. Right? Demographic information, preferences, that kind of stuff. Well, you could take all those fields that you don't use for everybody, put those in a different table, and just make a one-to-one relationship between your customer and your extended customer file. Because all of those empty fields, even though they're empty, they do take up a little bit of extra space. So that's one more trick you can use to split things up. So I'm going to cover all of this in a more detailed video coming up in the future. But in the meantime, watch all of these and it will give you all the information that you need to overcome that pesky 2 gigabyte limit. And if all of that fails and you're still running into problems, well, then you've got the ultimate solution is just to upgrade your backend to SQL Server. If you got that much data, it might be time, right? There's a free version available. I believe that the default is 5 gigabytes for a database file for the free version. Nope, I was wrong. I just looked it up. It's 10 gigabytes. They increased it from 4 to 10 gigabytes with SQL Server 2008. So, and if you outgrow 10 gigabytes, then you can upgrade to the paid versions, or you can split across multiple Express databases, although that can be messy. But, you know, if you got that much data, then you're going to start paying for SQL Server at that point. But I've been running my business for 20 years with the same database file. And yes, I've got mine split up into multiple backends. My customer table alone is probably about 1.5 gigs. So I'm going to have to start doing some optimization tricks on that one soon. But I could probably archive a lot of old customers. If you don't log on to my website in the last 5 years, I move you off to a different table. So, but anyways, I hope that answers your question, Anthony. And again, I got another video on this coming out in the future. Pretty soon. All right, let's head over to the YouTubes. Venkat G says, how can we create multiple choice random quiz? Could you please help on this? This is based on my flashcards video. Well, you have to learn how to do random numbers first. And of course, I got a video for that. This one will teach you how to generate random numbers in dice rolls. And then if you have a certain number of questions in your question database, all you have to do is use dsum or dcount to count up how many you have, and then generate a random number from 1 to that. And then that's the question you ask. If that's what you're asking me. I'm not exactly sure from your question. But as always, if you guys want to see me put together a database on doing quizzes with random questions and multiple choice and all that stuff, then post a comment down below. And if enough people are interested, maybe I'll do a video on it. I do make a test taker database in my Access Developer Level 9 class. And this is basically kind of what you're looking for, right? It lets you put in, the student, department, class, test. You could set up all the quizzes and then begin the test, and it runs you through taking the test. It's not randomized, but it will take you through answering the questions one at a time and keep track of your score. So it's definitely possible, right? Access Developer Level 9. I'll put a link to this down below too. Fuego Esmeralda says, I always get confused with ranges defined by inequalities. I have to get all the symbols pointing in the same direction just to make sure I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way too. I like to write stuff like this, right? Keep them all the same way. But it depends on what you're doing. If you're trying to do something between, then you do it this way. If it's outside, you got to flip it. If you want my date to fall outside of the date range between X and Y. So whatever works for you, right? Angela Marie says a bunch of stuff, but the important thing in here is that she says that she's working with SQL Server, and some tables have 500,000 plus records. And she did try continuous forms at first, but found it could work better with data sheets and lots of conditional formatting. And that's one way to work with it. What I like to do is I like to specify my criteria first if I can, like on an unbound form, like your main menu, for example. If you're working with dates, specify a date range. Try to get that 500,000 down to something reasonable, right? And then you can use a pass-through query or whatever you have to do on the server to limit the set of records. Because Access will bog down if you try pulling a continuous form with 500,000 records off of SQL Server. It doesn't send them all, but it sends a good number of more than you need. So I do whatever tricks I can with my queries, with my pass-through queries, to try to reduce that data set ahead of time. Mitchell Folby says, from my accounts payable part 2, for the bill table, it'd be nice to scan a copy or electric copy of the bill as well to get your billing data into your table. Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be nice if Access had some way to automatically do some OCR to pull data in. You can do it with web APIs, with like the Google Web API. You can take an image, use your database, send it to Google, have it do the OCR and get it back. There's ways to do it. You could do it with ChatGPT too. The OpenAI API can do OCR. So there are ways to do it. Me personally, I just go to whatever vendor, or for receivables, payables, credit card stuff, checking accounts. I just open up their website to see what I owe them, and then just copy the data that way. Because you got to log on at least once a month or so and check your statement, check your balances, all that stuff, right? So while you're there, you might as well just grab the data that you need right off of their page. Now, in addition to my payables seminar, I do have this thing that I use called the account balances template that I use for recurring expenses, keeping track of your balances for your checking accounts, credit cards, all that stuff. And there is a script editor in here. And what you can do is you can program in what your banks or your credit cards or your vendors or whoever's website data looks like and say, okay, go to that web page window, your browser window, copy all the text and find the data that's between, balance and whatever's after balance. And then just grab that number and it puts it right into your table for you. So I do have that available in my account balances template. You got to write the script for it, but once you got it, it's really cool. You literally just load up your bank website, click one button. It will pull in your balance, pull in your amount due, and any recurring transactions or pending transactions, it'll mark them as paid. So it's pretty neat. Check it out. There's the link. All right, next up we've got this, which I got to go load Google Translate now. All right, please add Arabic audio translation to your wonderful videos. Well, if it's available in YouTube, then it'll be activated. I activated all the languages that I could. So if it's not showing up, maybe it just hasn't done it yet. I know sometimes it'll do like Spanish and French and stuff first, and then over time it does the other languages. So I don't know. I have zero control over this, and I don't speak Arabic. I don't speak any other languages except for English, and even that's not half the time. But that's all completely up to YouTube. I have zero control over it. As you can see here in my advanced settings, I've got Allow Automatic Dubbing on, and I don't have to review them, so as soon as they're ready, they should get published. Digging a little deeper, it looks like only these languages are the actual ones that are supported. So we're at French, German, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, and Spanish. I guess Arabic is still considered experimental, so some videos might have it and others don't. So until they completely roll it out, again, it's completely up to YouTube, not me. So trust me, if it's available, I want to get my video watched by as many people as possible. So if there's a new language out, of course I'm going to say do it, right? All right, next up, Nick Broekhuizen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nice funny coincidence. I'm busy rewriting one of my very old databases where I use invoices and payments. Don't know if you're going to do statements too. Well, it just so happens I got all kind of statements videos. I got account statements. I got billing statements. I got accounts receivable. And that all starts here with my invoicing video. So whatever kind of statements you're looking for, I gotcha. I'm like Leo gets, right? Whatever you need, Leo gets. And I spend the majority of my full course, my access course on my website, covering customer invoice, sales, inventory, all that kind of stuff. So as much as you're looking to learn about this kind of stuff, I got videos for it. Our Tat1 says, regarding your frustration with copy and paste not working consistently, are you sure it's an msaccess problem? No, I'm not. It just started happening randomly, I'm going to say less than a year ago. I've been running Windows 11 since Windows 11 came out on my training machine. I have not had any problems copying and pasting files in Explorer. I've checked online. I even asked ChatGPT. It didn't really give me any help. It says run access as administrator. Try turning off clipboard suggested actions. I've got the clipboard history on. I tried turning that off. I've tried a bunch of stuff. Uninstalling updates, rolling back. None of it's really worked. So I don't know. I really don't know. And it's seemingly random too. Sometimes it'll work fine, sometimes it doesn't. Like I should be able to select all of that, go copy, paste, and it should paste it, and it didn't. But then again, if I try it a second time, copy, paste, it works. See? So I don't know, right? Copy, paste. Okay, do it again. Copy, paste. Second time is always a charm. Well, not always. Sometimes it doesn't work the second time. Copy, paste. Copy, paste. Click. Do it again. Copy, paste. And then it works. It's like every other time it works. I don't know why. It's annoying, but I've learned to just live with it and just deal with it. I've tried turning off a bunch of stuff. I've done everything except roll back to Windows 10. In fact, I think my server still runs Windows 10. Maybe I'll go experiment with it later. But if any of you come up with a definite fix or a reason why it's still happening, well, let me know. I would love to share it. Now, this is the kind of comment I like to see. Thank you for your tutorials. Extremely helpful, and you're a huge contributing factor to my promotions at my job. I am honored and privileged to have helped you. Just don't forget about me when you're in the big leagues and you're on top and you're CEO. All right? Remember old Ricky here, okay? Okay. Next up, Halcott Mohammed. Regarding the tables relationship does not show up, there is an easier step than adding the tables again. In the relationship design, just click on all relationships and it show up again. Yes, if I think I know what you're talking about. Let me see if I got you right here. So if you go to your database tools, your relationships. Now, see, I don't use these very often. It's very rare that I use these because they don't work across database files. And a lot of my databases that I build in a production environment, where I either am using SQL Server or the backend files could be in two different files. The backend tables could be in two different files. So you can't use relationships across those. But let's say you're working with one database file and you've got some relationships set up. Let's say you've got the customers and you got orders, right? And you've got them joined together by customer ID. So customer ID over here. And let's say you got some referential integrity enforced. All right. Now, if I save this, the relationship is made. Okay. And if I close this and come back into it, you'll see it there. Now, even if you delete tables out of here, okay, that doesn't delete the relationship. I think that's what you're trying to say. All right, so even if I delete both of these guys, that relationship still exists. You're just removing them from the layout, right? So if you come back in here and go right-click, show all relationships, it'll show you all the tables that you got relationships with. And this is something that you can do because you might have 20 different tables in here that all have different relationships. But if you only want to work with 3 of them, you can just take them out of here by just deleting them. And then go and do what you want to do, work with your other tables, close this, save the it says save the changes to the layout of the relationships. This is nothing more than just a big map. Right? And later on, if you come in here and you're like, oh, where was that one table that I needed? Oh, okay, let me see. I can just show all relationships. Oh, there it is. Right? There's also a link up here. And if you get rid of this or hide the table, basically, and you don't want to bring all 15, 20 tables back, you can just drag it back in here and it'll pop back in with that relationship intact. There's a million ways you can do it. But again, I don't spend a lot of time in the relationships window. I don't use it myself that often. I just don't. I prefer to handle things like referential integrity myself in code. But that's just my preference. But thanks for the tip. Great tip. Camarique TV. It's a shame Access isn't available for Mac users. Yeah, it is. I mean, the more Access users, the better. Even though I'm not a Mac user myself. Talk to Microsoft. They got Word, Excel, I think PowerPoint even, right? All those other apps are available. It's probably something to do with the file system. I don't know. But that's definitely a Microsoft question. There are ways to get Access to work on a Mac, but it usually involves virtualization. Basically running Windows inside your Mac. So you can get it to work, but it's not native. In fact, I do have a video on this topic coming out soon about how you can run Access on a Mac and some different techniques you can use. So stay tuned for that. Uriel Ramirez says, can you list in your channel so small series like this are easier to watch? I think you're talking about setting up playlists. Yeah, I could set up playlists on YouTube. It'd be a little extra work, though, to go back after the series is done and set up the playlist. But if you go to my website, if you watch the videos on my website, there's little links here that'll take you right to the next one. Right, here's Accounts Payable 2, click. All right, take you to the next one, Accounts Payable 3, click. And so on. Right? And down here, it's got the prerequisite, or you can find it up here. Here's the previous one. And I know Alex sometimes sets up actual pages that have all of them on the same page. I like to have them all on separate pages, though, because then down here on the bottom, you got the questions that are just for that particular video instead of having them all together. But yeah, I design for my website. YouTube is just where an extra place to put them. But I won't lie, though. My traffic comes from YouTube. So, yeah, I like to keep YouTube people happy, too. All right, folks, that's going to do it for another Quick Queries Friday. Hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. And make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. Do you need help with your Microsoft Access project? Whether you need a tutor, a consultant, or a developer to build something for you, check out my Access Developer Network. It's a directory I put together personally of Access experts who can help with your project. Visit my website to learn more. Any links or other resources that I mentioned in the video can be found in the description text below the video. Just click on that Show More link right there. YouTube's pretty good about hiding that, but it's there. Just look for it. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, tables, all that stuff. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? And if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. That's it. And it's free for members of my YouTube channel at any level. Speaking of memberships, if you're interested in joining my channel, you get all kinds of awesome perks. Silver members get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, and there's hundreds of them by now. They also get one free beginner class each month, and yes, those are from my full courses. Gold members get the previous perks plus access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos. Plus, you get access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions and all kinds of source code that I use. And gold members get one free expert class every month after completing the beginner series. Platinum members get all of the previous perks, plus they get all of my beginner courses, all of them from every subject. And you get one free advanced or developer class every month after finishing the expert series. And you can become a diamond sponsor and have your name listed on the sponsor page on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.